In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. In our multicultural world, the experience that I am going to name is by no means an unusual or unique experience. In my life, I have had the opportunity to serve with, minister to, and befriend people who lived through World War II, not just on this side of the conflict, but on both sides of the conflict. That dialogue and reflection that we have been able to do across lines that used to be war lines allows us a deeper understanding of that darkness and that evil and those powers of destruction that tried to lay claim to human life during those years of World War II. I think of family friends that we had in Germany who talked about the end of World War II not as the time when Germany lost the war, but a time when Germany was set free from the rule of the Nazis. Millions of lives lost in combat. Millions of innocent civilian lives lost in the crossfires of war. Millions of people rounded up and exterminated in cold blood because of who and what they were. Years of incredible darkness, which makes it all the more remarkable that there was a whole generation of men and women, many of whom were very young, who saw the loss of certainty, the loss of stability, the loss of the world as they knew it, and who chose not to be powerless in the face of that loss. A whole generation of men and women who came to see that their lives were not just for themselves. It wasn't just about self-preservation. That they could become offering. They could become sacrifice in the pursuit of the highest of ideals, the building of a world of freedom and peace for us all. That same contrast between loss and offering is very much present in our gospel story today. Through the eyes of Jesus, we meet a nameless widow. And we can understand that in Jesus' day, widows were considered to be a group that was most vulnerable in that society because this woman is impoverished. We know that when her husband died, she lost everything. All stability, all certainty, all status. She did not have other family members to care for her. She is seen as nothing. She is invisible. But Jesus sees her. And Jesus lifts her up for us to see as well. 2 insignificant copper coins worth only a penny. And yet he names her offering as the most generous and the most faithful. Everything that she has is taken from her, and yet she chooses to give everything. We know that those forces of evil and darkness are still loose in our world today. Maybe we are particularly aware as we have been led to see the destruction currently going on in Syria, for example. Millions of people similarly dead or displaced because of an accident of race or creed or circumstance. But we don't have to live in Syria to see how those forces of destruction seek to claim human life across countries, across communities, across families, even within individuals. And yet, that better world that generation fought for, that better world is also here. We here, right now, enjoy a freedom and a peace and a prosperity that most people in most parts of the world through most of history have never had. As citizens of this country, we are called at this time of year to remembrance and thanksgiving. But as people of the gospel, we are called one step further. We are called to be implicated by our blessings and by our gratitude and by our remembrance. What are we doing with our hard-won freedom and peace and prosperity? Are we like those leaders in Jesus' example who do not see what we have and do not see the suffering in front of us? Have we been led to believe that our freedom is just about individualism? I can choose a better cell phone plan and a healthier breakfast cereal for myself. Or can we dare to imagine that our lives can also become offering for God's dream? That freedom and peace is not just for me and not just for us, but for all of us. May the beauty of this requiem music this morning lift up our prayers for peace, our acts of remembrance. May we be led again to gather around God's table and receive God's good gifts. And may our lives be shaped into lives of offering, so that in partnership with God, the better world that has been built for us can be built for all of us. Amen.